0200 hours, submerged 3 miles off the rocky coastline of the East China Sea. The ocean floor is a void of absolute darkness, silent and crushing. A massive nuclear submarine hangs suspended in the deep, motionless against the heavy current. Inside the attached dry deck shelter, 12 men sit in the cramped steel tube, encased in black neoprene suits. The air inside is frigid and smells of recycled oxygen, rubber, and machine grease. Red combat lights bathe the space in a bloody glow as operators check their gauges. The hiss of hydraulic pumps breaks the quiet. Freezing seawater floods the chamber, swirling around their legs and rising rapidly to their chests. The pressure equalizes with a sharp pop in their ears. The outer bay doors groan and slide open, revealing the infinite blackness of the ocean. The team leader signals with a tap on the pilot's shoulder. The clamps release with a metallic clank. The first swimmer delivery vehicle drifts out of the shelter, swallowed instantly by the sea. The electric motor engages with a high-pitched whine. The craft cuts through the water, propelling 6 men forward into the gloom. A second vehicle follows close behind, its propulsor churning the dark water. The cold is brutal. It bites through the thermal suits, numbing fingers and toes instantly. The pilot steers hard against a violent cross-current that threatens to smash them against a submerged reef. Visibility is near zero. The operators rely entirely on the green glow of their navigation screens. Seaweed and debris whip against their masks. They navigate through a natural minefield of jagged rocks. The hull of the lead vehicle scrapes against coral with a sickening grind, sending a vibration through the frame. But the pilot corrects the course and pushes forward. The water changes texture as they approach the surf zone. It becomes turbulent, churning with sand and foam, tossing the small craft like a toy. The SDV breaches the surface 500 yards out. Waves crash over the canopy, filling the cockpit with white water. The team disconnects the oxygen lines and rolls into the water. They swim hard. The swell picks them up and hurls them toward the shore. Boots hit the slippery rocky seabed. They stumble, fight the undertow, and drag their heavy waterproof gear bags onto the jagged stones of the beach. They do not stop to rest. The team moves low, crab walking instantly into the deep shadows of the cliff face. Waterproof zippers tear open. Assault rifles are pulled from the bags. Water drains from the barrels. Suppressors are tightened onto the muzzles. Night vision goggles snap down over eyes. The team leader scans the ridgeline with a thermal monocular, searching for heat signatures. The beach is empty. The roar of the ocean masks the sound of the zipper pulls and the clicking of bolts. The operators bury the rebreathers under loose shale. The SDVs are programmed to return to a loitering depth. The team is now completely isolated on hostile soil. The target is 2 miles inland, up a steep, crumbling ravine. The team leader signals forward. They move into the tree line. 0230 hours, coastal ridgeline, 1 mile inland. The incline is brutal and unforgiving. Thick, subtropical vegetation chokes the path, tearing at uniforms and snagging equipment straps. The ground is a slurry of mud and rotting leaves that sucks at combat boots with every step. Rain begins to fall, a cold drizzle that mixes with the sweat on the operators' faces. The team moves in a single-file column, maintaining perfect interval spacing. Night vision goggles turn the chaotic forest into a crisp, green tunnel. The point man raises a closed fist. The column freezes instantly. 12 men drop to one knee, blending seamlessly into the dark foliage. The only sound is the rain pattering against the canopy and the distant, rhythmic crash of the ocean behind them. The point man slices his hand across his throat, then points 2 fingers forward. 30 yards ahead, a small clearing breaks the tree line. A makeshift outpost sits on the edge of a dirt track. 2 sentries stand under a tarp, seeking shelter from the drizzle. The glow of a cigarette tip burns bright orange in the gloom. Low laughter drifts toward the American team. The sentries are relaxed. Their assault rifles lean against a crate of ammunition. One checks a phone, the blue light illuminating his bored expression. They have no idea death is watching them from the bushes. The team leader taps the shoulder of the operator in front of him. He signals to the right. 2 operators detach from the main element. They slip into the brush, moving low and fast. They place their feet carefully, rolling from heel to toe to avoid snapping twigs. They close the distance, circling wide to approach the outpost from the blind side. The first operator draws a serrated combat knife. The blade is black, non-reflective. The second operator raises a suppressed pistol, bracing his arm against a tree trunk for stability. He aligns the tritium sights on the chest of the sentry with the phone. The rain masks the faint rustle of their final approach. They strike in unison. The first operator lunges from the darkness. His left arm hooks around the smoking sentry's neck, crushing the windpipe. He jerks the man backward, lifting his feet off the ground. The knife drives hard into the side of the neck. It tears through muscle and artery. Hot blood sprays across the operator's glove and wets the mud. The sentry thrashes once, his boots drumming a frantic rhythm on the dirt, then goes limp. The cigarette falls hissing in a puddle. Simultaneously, the pistol coughs. Pft, pft. 2 rounds slam into the second sentry's chest plate. The ceramic armor cracks, absorbing the kinetic energy but knocking the wind out of him. He staggers back, mouth opening to shout. The operator adjusts his aim. The 3rd round strikes the bridge of the nose. The back of the sentry's head explodes in a mist of red. He collapses backward over the ammo crate, crashing into the mud. The silence returns instantly. The 2 operators rush forward. They grab the bodies by the drag handles on their vests and haul them deep into the undergrowth. Leaves and branches are kicked over the bloodstains. The enemy rifles are stripped of magazines and tossed into the thicket. The team leader moves the rest of the column forward. They step over the scuffed earth where the men died seconds ago. The objective is close now. A hum of heavy generators vibrates through the ground. 2:45 hours, granite bluff overlooking the valley floor. The rain falls harder now, turning the observation ridge into a slick ramp. The team crawls the final 10 yards on their stomachs, pressing their bodies into the mud to lower their silhouette. Below them, the missile battery compound glows like a stadium in the wilderness. Halogen floodlights buzz and flicker, casting long, harsh shadows across the concrete pad. The perimeter fence is 10 feet high, topped with razor wire that glistens in the wet light. Operators slide into position. Bipods snap down into the dirt. Spotting scopes are unspooled and focused. The team leader raises his thermal binoculars. The view is a monochrome mix of white-hot engines and cool blue steel. The target is massive. 6 transporter erector launchers, huge 10-wheeled beasts, sit parked in a semicircle. The missile tubes are elevated, pointing menacingly toward the coast. Camouflage netting drapes loosely over the cabs, but the hydraulic stabilizers are dug deep into the asphalt. A radar vehicle spins rhythmically in the center of the formation, its dish sweeping the sky. Target 1 identifies, the sniper whispers. She adjusts the turret on his scope. Range 400 meters, wind half value left. Through the optic, the enemy routine is visible in high definition. A patrol of 4 soldiers walks the interior fence line. They wear rain ponchos and carry assault rifles slung low. A German shepherd strains on a leash, sniffing the wet air. The dog stops, ears perking up, turning its head toward the ridge. The handler yanks the leash hard, dragging the animal forward. The dog growls but continues walking. The team leader scans the support structures. He marks a squat, concrete bunker near the main gate. Heat signatures bloom from the ventilation pipes. "Command and control," the team leader says. 2 guards at the door. He shifts his gaze to a long, corrugated metal building on the east side. The thermal image shows rows of sleeping bodies glowing faintly through the thin walls. The barracks. The sniper cycles the bolt on his rifle, chambering a fresh round. He settles the crosshairs on the chest of the lead guard at the command bunker. The distance is significant, but the shot is clean. The wind gusts, shaking the wet leaves around them. The team studies the patrol patterns. Every 3 minutes, the fence line patrol passes the blind spot behind the generator shed. The team leader checks his watch. The timing is tight. He taps the radio handset. "Green light. Move to breach." The snipers remain in the overwatch position, barrels tracking the guards below. The assault element slides backward, fading into the darkness of the ravine to begin the descent. 300 hours, north perimeter fence, behind the generator shed. The rain falls in sheets now, hammering against the corrugated metal roof of the shed. The noise is deafening, a constant roar that swallows all other sound. Water cascades down the chain-link fence, creating a shimmering curtain. The assault team huddles in the mud at the base of the wire. They are black shapes against the darkness, soaked and motionless. The hum of the high-voltage transformers overhead vibrates in their chests. The breacher moves forward. He carries large, heavy-duty bolt cutters. He kneels in the mud. The jaws of the tool bite into the steel mesh. He applies pressure. Snap. The bottom link parts. He moves up. Snap. Another link. The sound is a sharp, metallic click, but the thunder of the rain and the drone of the generators mask it completely. He works fast, sweat mixing with the rain on his face. He slices a vertical slit 3 feet high, then cuts the bottom tension wire. He grabs the jagged flap of fencing and peels it back. He locks it open with a zip tie. The team leader goes first. He slides through the gap on his back, weapon held high across his chest. He rolls instantly to his feet on the inside, scanning the tarmac. He raises a clenched fist. Clear. The rest of the team pours through the hole. 8 men filter into the compound in 10 seconds. They move like oil, fluid and silent. They sprint low across the open strip of wet pavement, their boots making no sound on the asphalt. They dive into the deep rectangular shadow cast by the first missile launcher vehicle. The launcher looms above them, a towering wall of green steel. The smell of diesel fuel and hydraulic fluid is thick here. Oil drips from the massive pistons pooling on the ground. The tires are taller than a man. The team stacks up against the wheel well, pressing their backs against the cold rubber. A spotlight mounted on the guard tower sweeps the yard. The beam cuts through the rain, illuminating the puddles in blinding white light. It tracks across the asphalt, moving closer to the launcher. The light slashes inches from the point man's boot. He freezes, muscle tensed, breath held tight in his lungs. The beam pauses, hovering on the edge of the shadow. Then it jerks away, continuing its arc toward the main gate. The team leader exhales. He checks the detonator charges in his pouch. He taps the shoulder of the operator behind him. He points to the next launcher in the line, 30 yards away. The team splits. 4 men peel off, sprinting toward the second target. The rest remain, prepping their weapons. The infiltration is complete. The sabotage begins. 3:05 hours, tarmac between launcher 2 and 3. The rain intensifies, bouncing off the asphalt in a rhythmic hiss. The split team moves across the open ground. They are exposed. The heavy steel door of the command bunker swings open 50 yards away. Yellow light spills out, cutting a sharp wedge into the darkness. A Chinese officer steps out. He adjusts his cap and looks up at the rain. He lowers his gaze. He sees them. 4 black silhouettes sprinting toward the missile trucks. He freezes. His hand drops to the holster at his hip. He draws a breath to scream. "Contact front!" the point man roars. The whisper is gone. The officer shouts, a harsh command that echoes off the metal hangars. He claws for his pistol. 3 operators raise their rifles simultaneously. They do not hesitate. Crack, crack, crack. The carbines bark. Muzzle flashes strobe in the rain. The officer jerks violently as 5.56mm rounds stitch across his chest. Blood sprays against the white door frame. He spins and crashes to the concrete, sliding into a puddle. Chaos erupts instantly. The roving patrol rounds the corner of the barracks. The German shepherd barks, a guttural, savage sound. The handler releases the leash. The dog launches itself like a missile. It covers the ground in 3 massive bounds. It leaps at the flank operator. Jaws snap shut on the Kevlar forearm guard. The operator stumbles back, grunting under the weight. He jams the muzzle of his rifle into the dog's ribcage and pulls the trigger twice. The animal yelps and goes limp, sliding off his arm. The patrol opens fire. Bullets snap through the air. Rounds spark off the steel legs of the missile launcher, sending showers of hot metal fragments into the team. Concrete chips spray into faces. The sound is deafening. "Suppressing!" the machine gunner yells. He steps out from behind the massive tire of the launcher. He raises the light machine gun. The belt feeds. He holds the trigger down. The weapon roars. A long, continuous burst rips through the night. Tracers burn red lines across the compound. The rounds slam into the patrol, shredding the wooden crates they use for cover. Wood splinters fly. The enemy soldiers duck, pinned by the overwhelming volume of fire. Above them, a siren begins to wail. A low, mournful drone rises to a deafening shriek. Red strobes ignite on the guard towers. The element of surprise is dead. The entire base wakes up. 3:10 hours. Central firing position. The siren is a physical force, a pulsing shriek that rattles the ribcage. The compound is a kill zone. The machine gunner pivots his weapon toward the barracks. The thin metal walls offer no protection. He clamps the trigger back. The belt feeds violently. Brass casings spray in a golden arc, clattering onto the concrete. The heavy rounds chew through the barracks wall, turning the corrugated steel into a sieve. The door kicks open. Enemy soldiers spill out, half-dressed, clutching rifles. They run blindly into the wall of lead. The machine gun cuts them down. Bodies pile up in the doorway. Blood mixes with the rainwater, swirling into the drains. "Charges, go!" the team leader roars over the gunfire. 3 operators break from cover. They sprint across the kill zone, splashing through puddles. They carry heavy canvas satchels. Bullets snap past their heads like angry hornets. 1 round strikes the pavement inches from a running boot, kicking up a spray of asphalt chips. They do not slow down. They reach the first launcher. It towers above them. The demolitions expert slides on his knees. He pulls a brick-sized block of C4 from his bag. He slaps it against the main fuel tank. The magnets clamp on with a solid thud. He twists the detonator key. A red LED blinks to life. "Set!" he screams. The second operator climbs the maintenance ladder on the side of the vehicle. He is exposed. A bullet ricochets off the handrail, sending hot sparks into his face. He flinches but pushes upward. He jams a thermite grenade into the hydraulic piston that elevates the missile. He pulls the pin and tapes the spoon down. This charge will melt the lifting mechanism into a solid lump of slag. He jumps down, rolling on the wet concrete to absorb the impact. They scramble to the next launcher. The sniper on the ridge joins the fight. A guard in the north tower swings a heavy machine gun toward the demo team. The sniper fires once. The guard's head snaps back. He tumbles over the railing, falling 20 feet to the ground. The spotlight shatters, plunging that corner of the yard back into darkness. 3 rigged! 3 to go! The team leapfrogs to the next set of trucks. The enemy fire intensifies. Rounds begin to impact the missile tubes themselves. Sparks fly. If a bullet hits a warhead, the mission ends in a mushroom cloud. The team moves faster. 315 hours, main gate entrance. The asphalt vibrates. The shaking starts in the feet and rattles up to the teeth. The sound of the siren is drowned out by a deeper mechanical roar. Twin beams of blinding white light cut through the rain, illuminating the falling water like sparks. Armor! Front! The team leader screams. A massive armored fighting vehicle smashes through the wooden boom gate. It splinters the barrier into matchsticks. The 6-wheeled beast skids on the wet tarmac, its engine screaming as the driver corrects the slide. The turret snaps toward the team's position. Thump, thump, thump. The 30mm autocannon opens fire. The rounds are explosive. They slam into the concrete jersey barriers sheltering the Delta team. The impact is catastrophic. The concrete does not chip, it disintegrates. Clouds of gray dust and rock shrapnel explode outward, choking the air. The machine gunner dives flat. A round hits the launcher tire behind him. The rubber explodes. The massive wheel collapses, the steel rim grinding into the pavement. The armored vehicle pushes forward. The ramp at the rear drops. A squad of enemy infantry pours out, using the heavy steel hull as a moving shield. They fire from the sides, their muzzle flashes blinking rapidly. "Suppress that vehicle!" the team leader yells. An operator raises a grenade launcher. He aims for the turret. Thump! The grenade arcs through the rain. It strikes the front slope of the armor. Bang! A puff of black smoke. The vehicle rocks slightly, but the armor holds. The driver revs the engine. The vehicle lurches forward, crushing a row of empty oil drums flat. The cannon fires again. Thump, thump, thump. Rounds tear through the generator shed. The metal screams as it rips apart. Sparks shower down on the team. They are pinned. The volume of fire is overwhelming. The enemy infantry advances, moving aggressively now, sensing the advantage. Bullets chew up the ground inches from the operator's boots. The demolitions expert slides behind the wrecked wheel of the second launcher. He clutches the remote detonator. His face is smeared with grease and wet with rain. He looks at the team leader. He holds up the device. The team leader nods. "Pull back! Fall back to the beach!" The team scrambles. They throw smoke grenades. Thick white clouds billow out, mixing with the rain and the darkness. They sprint blindly into the smoke, abandoning the position as the armored vehicle churns toward the rigged missiles. 320 hours, breached perimeter fence. The team vaults through the jagged hole in the chain link. They hit the mud hard, sliding down the embankment into the tree line. Behind them, the roar of the armored vehicle engine grows louder. The heavy tires crush the asphalt, closing the distance to the rigged launchers. The infantry shouts, their voices close, triumphant. They think the Americans are running. They swarm the missile trucks, securing the area. The demolitions expert stops at the edge of the woods. He turns back toward the compound. He wipes mud from the face of the remote. His thumb hovers over the safety cover. He flips it up. The red light pulses. "Burn it!" the team leader orders. The thumb presses down. The world turns white. A massive sphere of fire erupts from the center of the compound. It expands instantly, swallowing the 3 lead launchers in a fraction of a second. The concussion wave hits the team like a physical blow, lifting them off the ground and slamming them into the wet earth. Trees snap in half. The sound follows a split second later. A crack so loud it ruptures eardrums. The fuel tanks on the missile trucks vaporize. Thousands of gallons of volatile propellant ignite at once. A mushroom cloud of black smoke and orange flame punches into the night sky, illuminating the rain clouds from below. The armored vehicle is caught in the center of the blast radius. The 20-ton machine is tossed into the air like a toy. It flips end over end, wreathed in flame. It crashes upside down on the tarmac, the hull buckling under the impact. The infantry squad surrounding it simply vanishes, disintegrated by the heat and pressure. Secondary explosions begin. The heat cooks off the solid fuel rocket motors inside the missile tubes. One missile ignites while still clamped to the burning wreckage of the truck. It tears loose, spinning wildly across the compound. It skids along the ground, spraying white-hot exhaust, then slams into the radar vehicle. The radar dish shatters into 1,000 razor-sharp shards. Debris rains down on the forest. Twisted chunks of steel, burning rubber, and jagged concrete fall through the canopy. The heat is intense, drying the rain on the operators' uniforms instantly. The compound is now a roaring inferno. The team leader staggers to his feet. He checks his limbs. He grabs the shoulder of the man next to him and hauls him up. The night vision is useless now, blinded by the fire. He flips the goggles up. Move! Move while they're stunned! The team turns away from the wall of fire. They scramble down the ravine, sliding through the mud, using the chaos as their cover. Behind them, ammunition crates begin to pop and bang in the heat. 3:25 hours, the ravine leading to the beach. The jungle is a nightmare of shadows and flashing lights. Behind the team, the burning missile battery casts a hellish orange glow against the clouds. The operators slide down the muddy slope, boots losing traction on the wet clay. They grab roots and vines to slow their descent, swinging wildly as the earth gives way beneath them. The air is thick with the smell of cordite and burning pine. A red flare pops overhead. It hisses as it hangs in the sky, bathing the forest in a blood-colored light. "Contact rear!" the rearguard screams. The pursuing enemy force reaches the ridgeline above them. Muzzle flashes sparkle like strobes along the crest. Bullets shred the canopy. Leaves and branches rain down on the fleeing team. Rounds thump into the mud, kicking up geysers of wet dirt. A heavy machine gun opens up from the high ground. The rounds tear through the tree trunks, turning the wood into splinters. A sapling shears in half, crashing down across the path, narrowly missing the medic. The team leader grabs the radio handset. "Viper 1, this is ground. We are hot. Request immediate extraction. Hot, hot. Peel left, peel left." The team executes a break contact drill. The two men at the rear stop, drop to a knee, and unleash a wall of automatic fire back up the hill. They empty their magazines in 3 seconds. The brass casings sizzle in the mud. As they reload, the next two men run past them, tap their shoulders, and set up a new firing line 10 yards further down. They leapfrog backward, trading space for time. The enemy infantry pushes hard. They shout commands, their voices angry and close. They toss grenades down the slope. Crack-wump. An explosion rips through the undergrowth. Shrapnel whistles through the air, slicing through vegetation. One operator grunts as a fragment strikes his ceramic backplate, knocking him forward. He stumbles but scrambles back up, adrenaline masking the bruise. The rearguard operator stops behind a thick oak tree. He pulls a claymore mine from his pack. He jams the legs into the soft earth facing the trail. He unspools the firing wire as he sprints backward. Shadows move through the smoke at the top of the ravine. The enemy point team rushes down the path, sliding in the mud, bayonets fixed. The operator waits. He waits until he sees the whites of their eyes in the red flare light. He squeezes the clacker. Boom! The mine detonates. 700 steel ball bearings scream out in a 60-degree arc. The front rank of the pursuers is shredded. The blast wave knocks the second rank flat. The screams of the wounded echo in the valley, momentarily drowning out the gunfire. "Move! Go! Go!" The team sprints the final 100 yards. The trees thin out. The roar of the ocean hits them. They burst out of the tree line and onto the open, rocky beach. There is no cover here. They are exposed against the white surf. 3:35 hours, the surf zone. The team hits the loose sand. There is no cover. They drop prone, forming a desperate semicircular firing line facing the jungle. The tree line erupts. Hundreds of muzzle flashes sparkle in the dark vegetation. Bullets whip across the beach, kicking up geysers of wet sand and splashing into the tide. A rocket-propelled grenade screams out of the woods. It streaks over the team and detonates in the water, sending a plume of white foam into the air. "Boats! 6 o'clock!" the team leader bellows. The roar of heavy outboard engines drowns out the gunfire. 3 black Zodiac assault boats burst through the crest of a massive wave. They catch air, hulls slamming down hard onto the dark water. They spin sideways, engines fighting the current, sliding into the shallows. The bow gunners rack the charging handles on the 6-barreled miniguns mounted on the prows. Brrrt. The sound is not a rattle. It is a buzzsaw tearing through the sky. A solid stream of tracer fire erupts from the boats. The red beams merge into a single laser-like line of death. The rounds impact the tree line. Trees disintegrate. Branches, leaves, and wood chips explode into the air. The jungle floor is churned into mulch. The enemy fire stops instantly, suppressed by the wall of lead. "Go, go, go!" The operators scramble backward into the water. The surf is waist-deep and freezing. They drag their legs through the heavy current. The boats bob violently in the swell. A coxswain revs his engine, holding the craft steady against the breaking waves. He extends a hand. The first operator grabs the rubber gunnel. He heaves himself up, rolling wet and heavy into the bottom of the boat. He turns and grabs the vest of the next man, hauling him aboard like a sack of concrete. A mortar round whistles in. It lands 20 yards up the beach. Crump. Sand sprays over the boats. "Last man!" the team leader screams. He dives over the side of the center boat. "Punch it!" The coxswains slam the throttles forward. The engines scream. The props bite into the water, churning up a massive white wake. The boats lurch forward, bows pointing skyward as they accelerate. They punch through the incoming surf, launching off the wave tops. The miniguns continue to spin, the gunners walking the fire back and forth across the beach to keep the enemy heads down. The boats speed into the deep water. The beach shrinks rapidly. The fires from the burning missile battery on the cliff above reflect off the black ocean, painting the water in dancing orange light. The team huddles in the floor of the Zodiacs, water dripping from their helmets. The coastline fades into the gloom. The only sound left is the wind and the drone of the engines heading toward the waiting submarine.